My name is Jake Weaver, and in this documentary, we will be talking about if women actually have equal rights. And these are some reasons on why we believe that women do not have. Society would be a better place because it would help prevent violence against women, give more women independence, and help lessen the gender stereotypes. Nearly 1 in 4 women are physically assaulted in their adulthood, and almost 1 in 5 women have experienced a domestic violence encounter in their lives. If we don't have to stereotype women as people who just stay at home and clean all day, as most people would, we'd have a better home as well. It would be more well organized. Here is some experts going into further detail.
Professionals to see why the ERA is so important.
So women are already equal.
Well, that's a complex question. Are women equal in the eyes of the law? No. Are women equal inherently? Yes. Our research would show that most people think that we're already guaranteed equal rights, actually 80% of people, when they're made aware that we're not, and asked if they would support an amendment to guarantee those rights, actually 94% of people say they would. So despite all of the discord that we have in America right now, people of every demographic appear that they would support this. The problem is that people don't know that we're not guaranteed these rights, and most people under 35 at least have never heard of the Equal Rights Amendment.
What are some examples of how women aren't equal?
Well, there's the legal things like pay and the level of legal scrutiny when they go into courts with a gender discrimination case.
Workplace discrimination, pregnancy discrimination in the workplace, domestic abuse and violence, where women just don't have the same legal recourse.
The world would be better if women had equal rights. Women's rights are still changing today and for the better. If this changes in the future, it would help make the world a better place because women would feel important like men. The world would be better if women were treated equal to men because there would be less diversity. There would be less possibilities of women getting raped too. Because if women are viewed equal to men, they may not be viewed as objects because most people view women as objects. And the main reason women get raped is because they're viewed as helpless and vulnerable because they are not men. If women are viewed like men, they would be much safer and not as much of a target for predators because most of the time women are viewed as helpless, they're weak, they're viewed as very weak, and they are viewed as not as capable as men. So that would help make the world a more pleasurable place to live.
To reach out to Ted Lieu, a California congressman who supports the ERA and who also has really good tweets.
I represent the 33rd Congressional District in Southern California. I'm a huge supporter of the Equal Rights Amendment. I'm very honored to write an op-ed with Patricia Arquette on the Equal Rights Amendment. I do everything I can to make sure that we have equal pay for equal work.
Most people I've talked to agree that women are equal or women should be equal, and in your op-ed you said that Americans overwhelmingly support ratification of the ERA, and not many people even realize that the ERA hasn't been ratified. If there's so much support for it, why can't it pass in Congress?
That's a great question. My first thought is that they're not rational, but there are some people who will not vote for it because they think it's going to result in too many lawsuits. So that's sort of their complaint that I hear from folks who don't want to vote for it. So my response to that is that it's a fear of too much justice. If there are pay gaps and people are suing to correct that problem, then to me that is something we want to encourage. $500 billion a year is how much economists estimate that women lose in the economy because of this disparity in the wage gap.
So would you say that women's rights, women's issues are economic issues?
Absolutely, and it is harming women economically. It is flat out unfair, and it's time that Congress passes the ERA.
Why is gender equality a partisan issue?
So what happens is the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, has not agreed to put it up for a vote. And basically the party controlling the House of Representatives gets to control their agenda, and this is simply not on the agenda of the current party controlling the House.
Why women's rights is a big problem today. Despite the progress for women's rights throughout history, it is still a very big problem today. Many women still face violence or discrimination, whether it's in their house, job, or school. The American Civil Liberties Union is a nonprofit organization founded in 1920 to help individual rights. Many women are scared of speaking out because of how bad the world has become. They're scared of being made fun of, rejected, or not heard. Women have tried to get their point out in the past, but people are too focused on other things, like school or work. Today, the ACLU is trying to make sure women are treated fairly by trying to make new laws and getting women's voices heard. Many people are scared to share their thoughts on anything because of the backlash women have received in the past.
And yet, here again is another expert.
Of course, I'm a woman of color, so I know many women of color who feel that the ERA has nothing to do with them. But I come from a feminist family. One of the reasons that I am there, and I take my granddaughter with me lobbying on Capitol Hill for the bills that are before Congress, is that women of color need it more desperately than anyone else, quite frankly, to make sure that those numbers in pay differences and in access to education and employment, women are still discriminated against because of the color of their skin. So, I would say that this ERA, what we're fighting for now, includes everyone.